A little bit late on the uptick today, but we're here. You know what I'm saying? And that's the biggest thing. It was good logic. It was a game. That's putting it mildly, I suppose, as well. Let me see here. Share window. Oh, there we go. All right, cool. Shit, and oh yeah, the game definitely in the fourth. But seeing us being able to close out in overtime was definitely nice. It was good, Taden. Yeah. Let me see these other scores. The Lakers game is still going? Holy cow. Okay. I guess. Let's see here. Obviously a slim victory today, 4-point spread. You said, but first things first. The referees be refereeing and the league decides what it decides. So yeah, jump ball. I can't break it down and put it into common sense right now. Maybe if I rewatch it a couple times, I can gaslight myself, but I'm not right. I'm not quite there yet. What's up, Jeff? White microwave. What a game. Absolutely. Then we try some obvious no foul. And the call stands somehow. Hey, it was one of those things. Dang, minus 29? Ryan Dunn couldn't. Yeah, he was out there though. He was out there though. Overtime call where he clearly slapped Key's wrist got overturned. Yeah. I mean, all in all, all's right with the world as long as you have the higher score at the end of the game, right? So we can kind of forgive a little bit of the foolishness that's been abound. But yeah, I'm not mad at this at all. Surprising. I'm trying to put into context, like I'm trying to understand what the thought process is here between the front office and the coaching staff. Like, do we want to be like a really competitive squad? Because we definitely have the makings to do that. Everything from these first three games have told us that, right? We're not even, you could argue we're not at full strength yet. We're still in the mix of everything, right? But I'm not really understanding if that's where we want to be or if we're just kind of showing this and then, there's going to be a mystery injury that pops up and then we're going to be like, okay, guys, it was fun while it lasted. I hope the fans love that stretch of basketball. We're done now. Like, I don't really understand like what the thought process is between like just the start of this game, honestly, or the start of this season. 32 shot attempts. Granted, 44% shooting from the field, which is acceptable, and then 6 of 13 from 3-point range, so 46% overall. 17 for 17 from the free. Like this 45 minutes of action, this says we want to win basketball games. That's what this says. It says we want to win basketball games, right? 14 boards, 5 offensive, 3 assists, only 1 turnover in 45 minutes of action on a 50 piece, right? He only had 2 personal fouls. Box score plus minus of a plus 26. Svi was the only one with the higher box score plus minus. 4 of 8, 2 of 5 from 3. Hit his 1 free throw. 3 boards, 3 assists, 4 steals, leading the team. Golly, we didn't have that many steals. Only had 8. But yeah, 4 steals, only 1 turnover, 11 points, 28 box score plus minus, and 37 minutes of action. Right? I mean, it's one of those ones. He said, "Nah, the refs bet the game. The game Suns winning." Can't tell if Taylor Hendricks is good. He is. I think today just wasn't really a great game for him. Like Bryce Sensabaugh off the bench, he knows what he's supposed to be, right? I don't like how he only played 11 minutes of action tonight, but I understand it. I don't like it, but I understand it considering the context of everything and how everybody else played for the most part. So with that in mind, I don't take his 1 for 5, 0 of 4 from beyond the arc, hitting 1 free throw, 2 boards, 1 assist, a turnover, negative 25 box score plus minus. Now, don't get it twisted, right? Negative 25 is egregious. It's terrible over an 11 and a half minute stretch, a 12-minute stretch. But I'm not going to sit here and throw it entirely on Bryce Sensabaugh or sit there and say, this 12-minute stretch of his game tape means he's not as solid as we thought he was in game 1 and game 2. No, he's absolutely that solid. That is how I expect him to consistently play. Just like with Taylor Hendricks, last game was kind of iffy, right? It wasn't great, but I didn't think we were going to. I knew him and Kyle Filipowski were going to see a minute split, but I didn't think it was going to be like this even. And in the back of my head, I didn't think he was going to start the season on the bench, considering what he showcased in the preseason. Now, do I understand it? Yes, but the battle between the two of them is relatively the same. Kyle Filipowski, 1 of 7, right? 1 of 3 from 3-point range, 6 boards, 3 of them being offensive, 3 defensive. 1 assist, 2 turnovers. Bosco plus minus was a +7. Taylor Hendricks off the bench in his 19 minutes of action, 1 less minute of action, 0 of 4 from the field, missed the 1 3 that he did attempt. He had the same rebounds set up the same way, 3 and 3, offensive and defensive, 1 steal, no turnovers, and a Bosco plus minus of a 1. So they're really, really close, but I don't say that Taylor Hendricks is I don't say he's not authentic. The Taylor Hendricks that we thought we were going to see will come out this season. We just have to figure out this minute situation because I don't think 19 minutes is, from a defensive standpoint, right? He's there, right? He's what we need him to be. But offensively, we thought he was kind of finding his groove. Game 1, game 2, game 2 was a little bit shaky. It wasn't as great as we hoped it would be. But this is like the bottom of the barrel type performance offensively from him, right? In 19 minutes, still managing to grab 6 boards is still solid, right? Had his steal with it, no blocks or anything like that, but he didn't have any turnovers. So the only thing that he did wrong was he missed all 4 of his shots. And 4 shots isn't crazy when you can take into context, we had got our leading shot taker took 32, right? Then it's 18, then 12. We only had 3 double-digit shot attempt takers across the entire, including overtime, for the entire game. So I think that it's just a little blip. Is it something to put a pin in? Not yet. But if he continues to play this way for an extended period of time, then it's like, okay, we need to adjust his role because maybe it's not the minutes, maybe it's the lineups we're rolling him out in. Maybe, it could be any number of things if it remains consistent, but I don't think it will. Anyways, good on the good side. Walker was amazing. Didn't miss a shot all season, dang near till halftime. Yeah. Larry with the 50, yeah. 81-1 final record is crazy. Yeah, for the starters getting more than 31 minutes is crazy, yeah. And no Cody Williams seems the actual trying. Yeah, the no Cody Williams is very, very telling. No slow-mo, no Williams, no K-Love. Very telling stuff right here. Royce played the most on the Suns too, yeah. They didn't have an answer for Lowry at all. At all. Dare I say, when he was outside the 3-point line, they had less of an answer because he shot 3% higher from there. And almost half of his field goal attempts came from that, despite only about 37% of his shot attempts coming from beyond the arc, So there's that. What said? Larry 50 Burger is wild. He was fantastic. He played well too. I'm starting to think he might work out on the team. I'm gonna get to him because he did some things that I needed him to do, and just as much as we sit there and chat and say, hey, he needs to lock in, this, that, and the third, there's also due praise that is necessary. We're gonna touch that for sure. Killed him on the boards at 25, 26 offensive rebounds. Let's see, 28. Yeah, 28 offensive rebounds to just 18. Yeah, we dang, 64-48 spread overall. Yeah, they did not have fun on the glass. Fairness Bryce. Suns ran Royce for 45 plus minutes, so if Lowry was sitting, Royce was, yeah. Defense was decent. Made Booker probably the most inefficient in a while. Yeah. Svi feels like a stopgap while the team works on ace and practice behind the scenes. That's a very valid point to have. To be honest, I like the starting lineup. It's very tall. You get a lot of rebounds, and it's very offensive oriented as well. We can get teams behind big, really fast, 4 capable 3-point shooters. Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, let's see. I'm gonna work my way up from the bottom now. Nurkic just got his, 17, 18 minutes a night for, dang, I didn't realize he had 13. 13 boards is crazy. 13 boards in 17 minutes. Yeah, he was 3 of 6. He didn't hit his 3 though, but it's okay, 13 boards, 7 points, 13 boards, 2 assists, 2 steals. He did have 4 turnovers, which isn't great, but it comes with the territory. Walter Clayton Jr. in his 23 minutes, 2 of 7 from the field, 2 of 6 from three. This is a yeah, he didn't hit double figures in a minute. He hasn't hit double figure threes in a minute, even going back to the preseason. But nice to see. Not superb, but nice to see that 2 for 6 is a lot better than 1 of 6 or 1 of 7, which he previously had. 3 boards, 2 assists, 2 turnovers, 6 points. Not a stellar game, but he was out there. Talked about Taylor. Talked about Bryce. Ace still feels like he's on a minutes restriction for some reason. Which, I mean, if he is still ailing, then that makes sense. But I'm pretty sure he played 13 and a half minutes or like 13:56, just shy of like 14 minutes last game too. So I think it's going to be a consistent theme. So once we actually see him crack 20 minutes of action, I think that's when we're going to see healthy Ace Bailey, so we can actually grade him. But 2 of 9 today, 2 of 5 from three, which was pleasant to see. 1 board, 1 assist, no turnovers. Still negative box score plus minus though, negative 15. Then we have Keyonte George, who played the second most minutes on the squad, one of only 2 players above 40 minutes of action. 8 of 18 from the field, that's 44.5%. We like that, right? I think I said last stream, if he can shoot right around that 44 to 46% range from the field, he's pretty much a lock. 2 of 9 from three, so not great, still not there, but it's okay, right? He showed us that it will come eventually. That 8 of 8 from the free throw line is definitely telling. He had 5 rebounds. He had 10 assists, 1 steal. He did have 4 turnovers, but again, 43 minutes of action. That's a long time. That's 1 turnover every 10 minutes, right? That's 1 turnover per quarter, essentially speaking. So acceptable behavior by far, right? That beats the 2-to-1 ratio, which is like the golden rule for you can be a effective passer in the league. Now, 3-to-1, you're talking about you're savants of the game, but 2-to-1, that's efficient. You had yourself a game. And that's what I'd say that he did. And to the tune of 26 points, positive box score plus minus, it was +3. Might not feel that great, but he was effective when he was on the floor, right? He led the offense properly. And while some people will sit there and say, oh, yeah, Lowry just carried these guys to victory, Keyonte George was a big part of the victory. Most definitely. Like, there's no way you can talk about this game. You look at the stat sheet and you don't bring his name up. I think that does just service, especially if you watch the game. We touched on Svi. We're going to talk about Kyle Filipowski before I jump to Walker. Still struggling a little bit. I touched on his numbers themselves, but all in all, defensively, he's looking smooth, right? Every time I see a solid defensive performance, I want to call that out. I want to appreciate that, because the numbers will not always tell it, right? He didn't have any steals. He didn't have any blocks, but he was there. He was right in position. He was communicating well. Are we going to say this is his best defensive performance? No, of course, because he didn't have any blocks or steals. But at the same time, this was an effective game on that side of the ball from my point of view, right? Maybe the tail of the tape might disagree with me. Maybe it was just me in the moment, just enjoying the game so much that I was like, oh yeah, he's doing so well on that side. But I genuinely think that he was a net positive on that side of the ball, right? And if you have a box score plus minus of +7, despite playing 20 minutes and being 1 of 7 from the field, you probably had to be decent on the defensive side of the ball. Again, like I said last time, unless you want to insinuate that the other 4 people on the floor overcompensated that much for you being a literal liability, which I refuse to believe. Growing process. He's starting. He'll get it worked out, And then we have Walker Kessler, right? The 3-headed horse today was Keyonte, Walker, and Lowry. Walker Kessler, 9 of 12 from the field. Double-digit field goals for the second time in 3 games. I want to know how many times he's attempted double-digit field goals in his career. That will be a very telling number. Matter of fact, I don't think he attempted double figures game 1. I think he might have had 9. I don't remember how many shot attempts he took in game 1, but it might not have been double figures. I might be tripping. But he hit one out of his 2 3-pointers. So overall in the season, it's looking pretty good. I'm not going to say he has a guaranteed 3-ball yet, right? I'm not going to lie, we got to get halfway through the season. But that 6 of 7 from the free throw line was something else. I think everybody can agree with that. That 6 of 7 from the free throw line from Walker Kessler was unexpected, right? 17 of 17 for Lowry is crazy, but Lowry's a shooter though. So it's kind of like 17 for 17 for anybody, even if you're Stephen Curry, is wild. In game, playing going into overtime, still managing to hit all your free throws, right? Double figures, not just double figures, 17, right? 17 points. 17 points worth of free throws. You didn't miss one of them, right? Didn't give one of them away. Walker Kessler, 6 of 7. To me, that's borderline equally impressive because last year, that was on a good day, that was 4 of 7, maybe. But usually it was 3 of 7, right? So we basically doubled it, right? That 6 of 7 is glorious. We need that. He had 11 rebounds, right? But that's not the impressive part to me, right? In 35 minutes of action, he had 11 boards. 8 of his 11 were offensive, right? That's not normal. That's not natural. That doesn't occur regularly. He had 8 offensive rebounds. 8 different times he extended the possession of the game. There's a lot of times where teams collectively will have 8 offensive rebounds, right? He had 8 by himself. Enough said. 4 assists. Looking pretty good between him. Kyle didn't have a lot of assists today, but between him, Lowry, and Kyle, 8 assists, right? That's night and day compared to last year, right? Need that. 4 blocks. Need that too. 3 turnovers, it's not that bad. We didn't have a crazy number of turnovers. Like, yeah, we had a couple. 18 collectively is pretty rough. But as you can see, we ended up in overtime and we closed the game out. So it was within expected parameters and we took care of it. He did have 5 personal fouls, right? So we do have to pay attention to that, him and Keontae. But again, overtime game. One thing I do have to call out, I forgot. Walter Clayton Jr. did indeed get 6 personal fouls. In 23 minutes of action is kind of wild. Do I agree with all the calls that were made? Meh. But they were made. They stand. It is what it is. But yeah, 25 points. 25 for Walker. 25, 11, and 4. 25, 11, 4, and 4. And 8 of his 11 boards were offensive. I can't overstate that because this is a Walker Kessler. Oh, dang. This is a Walker Kessler masterclass game. 9 of 12 from the field, 1 of 2 from beyond the arc, 6 of 7 from the free throw line. You don't want to foul him in the clutch because he's showing you he can hit his free throws. You really don't want to miss a shot around him because you really want to make sure you box out because he's snagging the glass offensively specific, right? He's being not necessarily a passing hub per se, right? But he is a willing passer and his court vision and his ability to just simply do stuff offensively, his bag was definitely on display today, right? And again, 9 of 12 from the field, 8 offensive boards, 4 assists, 4 blocks. So he's doing his usual thing on defense, and he was moving his feet really well. 25 piece, right? This is a Walker Kessler you don't want to see. This isn't the guy you want to have to deal with on a consistent basis. You don't want to be the coach that coaches actually having to scheme for Walker Kessler in the future, right? That's going to be a thing. That's what this game tells us. Not only can he grow, but he's showing you that in real time that it's a fact. It's not a matter of if he grows. It's a matter of when he grows. It's a matter of when he gives you 25. It's a matter of when he can give you 20 and 10, right? Not if he can give you 20 and 10. It's there. And I didn't realize the disparity. I knew he was getting offensive boards, but I thought it was 5 and 6. I thought he had 5 offensive, 6 defensive. 8 offensive rebounds is fucking crazy, right? And then of course I know we appreciated and we glossed over it a little bit because Sports Center, everybody's gonna talk about it tomorrow morning. But Larry Markkinen, 50 piece, dude. 50 piece. Do we need to say more? 51 in 45 minutes, 32 shot attempts. You know what I'm saying? 17 for 17 from the line. 14 rebounds. Only 1 turnover. Could you ask for a better night? Does it really get better than that? I don't remember the actual formula for true shooting, so I'm not going to sit here and get too far out of depth. But this is definitely over 60% true shooting. Might border on 70, right? Just a great game. Just a great game from these guys. Stringing it all together when it came down to it. Got to give credit where credit is due. Royce O'Neal, despite struggling defensively, he still had 17 and 13 and 7. So he was not a slouch, right? By any stretch of the imagination, he still shot 40% from 3. That 5 of 12 meant something. It kept him in the game. Grayson Allen, not a great day from three, but he was out there, he was doing his thing. Still had 23, right? Devin Booker, still doing Devin Booker things. We made it as difficult as we could, but he's Devin Booker, right? 11 to 26, 5 of 12 from three, 7 to 10 from the free throw line, 10 assists, 5 boards, right? He led his team with 34. That wasn't enough. 34 is not greater than 50 in any way. Mark Williams did have a great game, though. I'm not going to lie. That 9 to 14 from the field, that 7 to 9 from the free throw line, I did not see coming. Okay. All right. So he was the one that had 5 and 6. He just didn't have any blocks. Okay, cool. Yeah. So he was having a field day just as much as Walker Kessler did. Interesting stuff. But yeah, we had ourselves a ball. 51, dude. 50, 25, 26. That's hoops. That's real great hoops. You know what I'm saying? Let me check up on this. We said for Key, I love his inside game. It seems to be coming into what we should expect for his passing game is there now. With his connection to team being slightly better from yeah, for sure. Nurkic is awesome. Dang, I can't talk. Nurkic was awesome off the bench. As for turnovers, there were a lot of turnovers overall this game. At least it felt that way. Have you checked the box score for the turnovers? Yeah. One of which was on an overturned calls. Obviously, still a foul call. So George had 3 in my mind. Yeah. Not concerned with that overall. Yeah. Got Lowry, Flip, and Kessler some good looks. Flip didn't hit them, but overall Flip has been good this season. Yeah. First realistic bad shooting night. Like, this is the first time we look at his stat line and we say, okay, yeah, this has to be better, right? That 1 to 7 can't stand. But it's okay. Everybody has those every now and then. Kessler actually my favorite because he's been my favorite since like 10 games when he was 5-5, double-double debut record, and his 20 and 20 game as a rookie. Fair. Walker getting a lot of field goal attempts off the tip-ins. Look at those offensive boards, man. That's wild. Yeah. And he was cleaning up the glass. Yeah. Now he's a third as a passer and a lane runner. Yeah. Nuggets finally broke the losing streak against the Wolves. Oh, they closed that? Let me see. Where are we? Oh, yeah, they finally got one. Took long enough. I'm not going to lie. That 50 by Aaron Gordon went undepreciated. So I'd say they definitely would love to have that one. Let's see. Jokic triple-double. Jamal had 43. Yeah, that'll close it. Hold on, I'm gonna have to click on. I'm gonna have to see that one. Rookie year Kessler led the league in field goal percentage. Yup, doing amazing on the free throws. Definitely needed it. Only 1 turnover and his load of crap got mugged. Let's see real quick. 9 to 10, 7 to 7 from the free throw line. Dang, 19 rebounds. Holy shit. Good God. 25, 19, and 10. Yeah, this guy is just disgusting. Yeah, that's why you're Jokic. Can't argue that. 16 to 29, 5 and 9 from 3. 6-7 from the free throw line. 6 boards, 3 assists. Yeah, that 43 something different. I forgot Tim Hardaway's on the Nuggets now. 7 of 11, 4 of 6, 2 of 2. Yeah, real ethical hoops, dude. 31 minutes, 20 piece, 63%. That's like 70 something percent true shooting. Yucky. I love that. In other news, F Cam Thomas, by the way. I don't know how he felt about that. He pissed me off. I knew he was going to struggle a little bit today, but like, I need to see how many field goal attempts he took. Yeah, he only had 9 field goal attempts. He pissed me off with that. Because ain't no way you're taking less field goal attempts than Tyrese Martin, dude. His over on the betting spread was 22.5 points, by the way. He gave us 9. Yo, they were all no, they weren't all mid. They just, I don't know what you want to call that. KD had 19, Jabari Smith 4-7, Alperen Sengun 7 of 11, Josh Giddey 3 of 5, Amen Thompson 5 of 10, 8 of 12 for Tari Eason had a game. Okay, Reed Shepard had a game too. Yeah, Clint Capella is still competent. Okay. Aaron Holiday in the league. Jeff Green got 4 minutes of action. Yeah, the league is interesting. Isn't in the MVP. Isn't the MVP team anymore? Nah, he's not. How did that game go, actually, though? $32.75. People don't appreciate Paolo Banchero the way they should. 22-4-4 for Franz. Okay. Wendell Carter, 10-10. Calm. Desmond Bain. Forgot he's on there. Yeah, Jalen Suggs. Anthony Black. Okay. All right. Oh, I forgot Tyus Jones off the bench. Dang, they barely playing him. Kelly Oubre, 9-16, 25 burger. Okay. All right. Dembona, VJ Edgecombe, 10-17, 2 of 4, 4 of 4, 4 boards, 7 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, only 2 turnovers, 26 points, 13 box score plus minus in only 39 minutes of action. Well, in 39 minutes of action. Solid. 15 of 32. Holy shit. I love VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey, dude. That backcourt is crazy. Holy cow. Yo, let Andre Drummond get starter minutes. Dembona not like that for real. No, I'm playing. But Andre Drummond needs the opportunity to just go out there and just do stuff, dude. Paul George still out. Joel Embiid is out now. Jared McCain's still out. It'll be interesting to see what they do when Jared McCain comes back. I'm not gonna lie, that might be the best backcourt in basketball. Jared McCain being your 6th man off the bench. Forget Quentin Grimes. Like, Quentin Grimes tough though. Don't get it twisted. 13-5-3. But man, look, that boy Jared McCain, the nail polish boy. Yeah. He'll give you 30 and then start doing TikTok dances in the locker room. Yeah, that's real hoops. Is Luka back in the lineup today? Was he back in the lineup today? I thought it was just what's his name? No way Luka was back and they lost. I messed up. I heard Reeves had a 50 piece yesterday though. Donovan Clingan. Okay. 16-14. Okay. Denny, 25, 4-4. Okay. Shaden Sharp, 16-7-2. 4 steals. Nice. Drew Holiday, 24, 5-6, showing he's still like that for real. Drew Holiday, how old is Drew Holiday? He's always gonna be like that to me. Jeremy Grant, 22, 3-3. Okay. Damn, they went crazy deep on this. Oh, never mind. Makes sense. Jared Vanderbilt, 28 minutes. 6. Oh, okay, Jared. You kind of pulled your weight today. 14, 8-3. All right. Rui, 16-6. Rui got to be better in this one. Yeah, if there's no Luka Rui, you got to step up, dude. Can't be doing that. DeAndre Ayton had 15 field goal attempts. 16, 8-2. Not mad at it. No, I'm not mad at it. Jake Laravia. Don't know who that is, but I probably do know who he is, and my brain's just not clicking for it. 6 boards, 5 assists. Okay, that's why you were on the court. I respect it. Austin Reeves, 13-22. Stank, 59% from the field, 3 of 8 from 3, 12, 14 from the free throw line, 5 assists, 4 boards, 3 steals. He did have 8 turnovers. 8 turnovers is crazy work. 8 turnovers is crazy. That's 1 every 5 minutes. But I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't understand how that happened, right? And yeah, an efficient 41-point game. Don't connect, 5 of 13, 2 of 8 from 3, 4 of 4 from the free throw line, 2 boards, 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 block, 2 turnovers, 16 points. Okay, Bronny got some minutes, so he didn't score. 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 3 turnovers. Okay. Woof. Not bad, though. Not terrible. I'm a Bronny James believer, so in due time. Nick Smith didn't have a good game. Christian Coloco and Chris Mannion. Oh yeah, no Marcus Smart, no LeBron, no Luka, no Gabe Vincent. Yeah, that'll do that. Scoot didn't play today either. Let me see. All right, Jeff, I'll talk to you, bro. Soak up this win, still waiting on the Ace has arrived game. Yeah. You're a Banchero hater? You got to realize, though, no, Banchero's not that inefficient, though. And a lot of it is because of his team just lacks shooting. And I'll never forgive them for trading away. They let somebody walk. It wasn't just Jalen. Who was it? They let somebody walk. They let their best shooter walk. And they don't even have KCP or KC. Yes, not CP3. KCP. They let KCP go too. So that irritated me. He's like first Cavaliers stint LeBron to me. VJ looking early rookie of the year front runner. He's legit. Yeah. Reeves and Luka though, but like Reeves and Luka, you say who's a third person for Reeves and Luka, right? Is it Dalton Connect? Let's see. Is it Marcus Smart, Gabe Vincent? I think it's Dalton Connect. To me, that three, if you want to say that Luka carries that heavy, you can make that argument. But I think that over the entirety of a season, I think there's games where Luka and where the entire roster is healthy, right? And Austin gives you 15 or Austin gives you 17 with rough shooting. Luka's more likely to obviously like to be a lock for 20, borderline 30 a night. Austin, I would hope that he's a lock for 20 points on average this season. We'll see. You could make the argument. I think as far as three people, I'm never picking Dalton Connect over what's his name? My brain just quit on me right there. I'm seeing him shaking. I'm seeing him show me rainbow. Jared McCain. Thank you. Jared McCain. Let's see. Might come down to VJ and either Ace or Walt, depending on if they prove it, get chances to shine early. VJ, Maxi, Ancient. Bit worried about Flag in his development year. Yeah, if they keep Cooper Flag at point guard, it's not going to be pretty, right? He had a decent game today, or most recently, but long term, it's not going to win them anything. He's not going to benefit from being put at the point guard spot. That's my biggest concern. And people will think that he's not as good as he actually is because they keep forcing him in that role. And like, if you're a Hall of Fame point guard, as a head coach, Jason Kidd, I think you would know what a real good point guard looks like and what a real good point guard does not look like. I think you would know what somebody with point guard sense and not point guard sense would look like. So I like to think it's like a management staff, like a front office. Like Nico was like, hey, I'm ass at my job, but I did get his Cooper Flag. So let's go ahead and milk him for as much money as possible. Just make sure the ball just stays in his hands. Run a point. You know what? Play him at point guard. Yeah. He's replacement Luka, right? He's not diet Luka. He's replacement Luka. Newsflash: as a on-ball creator and a point guard, he is diet Luka, right? He's not replacement Luka. That's not how this is gonna go. It's just nasty. It just shouldn't happen. And I refuse to believe that Jason Kidd does not know this. Like, there's no way he doesn't recognize this. He literally is recognized as one of the best point guards to ever play the game. But for him to sit there and put somebody at point guard as he is the head coach, right? He's final say. The only way it makes it past him, and this is what we keep seeing, is if he's been told, we want this, I need you to do this. If you want to keep your job, you're going to play him at the point guard spot. That's the only way this makes sense to me. Because granted, D'Angelo Russell's not great, but as a point guard, D'Angelo Russell is definitely better at it than Cooper Flag. Just off, if you want to say off his experience, if you want to say passing sense, anything you want to say, as a point guard, Cooper Flag should not be there. He's the two guard. Sorry, not sorry. I won't take it back. It's a fact. It's reality, right? And we live in reality, unfortunately. Wish I could go to Dream World. He said rookie of the year is almost always decided by New Year's. Ace or Walt will need to step up quick, start taking the starting role for them to get any traction by then. Yeah, that's fair. VJ has a huge head start over Ace. Ace have to average about 5 points per game higher from here on out because VJ has been averaging like 30. Yeah. Vita's just literally been him. Flag had a better chance than our guys. I'll say Flag has a better chance, like off rip, just because though he's had rough games, he has over these 3 games, right, been better than both Ace and Walt individually. If you put them side by side, Cooper Flag is clearly the better player. Now, it's not fair to do so because obviously we know Ace Bailey isn't at 100%. So it'd be foolish to sit there and do that and say, yeah, he's obviously better than the guy that plays 13 minutes a game. It's like, no shit. Obvious. I'd assume so. I'd assume so. He plays 30, 35 minutes a night. I'd assume he puts up better numbers than the guy that plays 1/3 of that. But yeah, around Christmas time, we'll have like a really clear picture, I think. Mid to late December, we'll know for sure. Because that's just the thing that just sits in everybody's head. Where that kid is going to ruin Flag, let the guy play his natural position. Yeah, I feel like it has to be like it's not his fault. VJ keeps up most of the season. He's rookie of the year locked. Yeah. All-Star? Eastern Conference, let me think. LaMelo's cooking right now, though. Not impossible, but I could definitely see it. Him and Maxey making it would be tough. It would definitely be tough. Might push VJ and he gets injury problems during the year. Yeah, I could definitely see that as well, especially when you can't rely on Paul George or Joel Embiid. Imagine I told you VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, Paul George. You'd say, what? That's a playoff lock. That might be a contender. That might be a lock as a contender. Kelly Oubre being your 5th person as a starter, he's competent. Yeah, he's not going to hold you back. If Kelly Oubre is the worst person on your lineup, and you have somebody who had an MVP at one point in their career, 2 guys that are entering their stardom, I mean, we can just sit there and say, and then you have Paul George, competent Paul George. Like, even if you had Clippers Paul George, right? I'm not even saying Thunder Paul George. Thunder Paul George, people forget Thunder Paul George was a demon. But if you have Clippers Paul George, right, but healthy, you're not just a playoff team. You're a deep playoff run team, right? It just sucks. These injuries, not playing with none of them. Yeah. Dink, it was a crazy game, dude. It was definitely fun. Kid always seemed like a poor coach. He needs a player who could take over the game like Giannis or Luka. I want to believe that Jason Kidd isn't a bad coach. To me, he will never be a great coach. It will take something impressive for him to be a great coach, right? Because he was blessed with Luka, right? Out the gate. It's kind of hard to mess that up. It's kind of really hard to botch that, right? Because even overweight Luka was still like that. Overweight Luka was, I'm not gonna lie, defensively he was bad. Defensively he was so bad. Holy crap! I almost forgot that part. But offensively, like the offense made sense, and defensively you had pieces that could make up for that. We're seeing now, or we will see, over the next 2 or 3 seasons with Cooper Flag and these boys, how much of a coach Jason Kidd is, right? And the thing is, I want to believe he's like, I want to think he's mid. I want to think he's just okay, right? He's going to have some good years. He's going to have some bad years. He's going to be a middle of the road guy, right? He's never going to be a top 5 coach in the league, but I also don't think he's going to be a bottom 5 coach in the league. I think he's a middle 10 kind of guy, right? I think that's where he sits. But if news drops and I find out he chose to start Luka at the point guard, he chose to start Cooper Flag at the point guard spot, right? No ownership pressure, just him. Just, you know what? I think this is a good idea. I want you to disregard everything I just said it in his defense. If he, a Hall of Fame point guard, thought that was a good idea individually, like nobody planted that, nobody put that battery in his back. Nah, you got it. You got it. You know, it's over with. 2 Tyrese's to look out for. Yeah, true. Oubre is the glue guy of that lineup. Defends hard, can make a 3-1 wide open, and seem like they should be good. Yeah, on paper they're a really good team. Kelly Oubre will crash his car. Paul George get injured, and B will be resting, and Maxey will be irritated. Hey, this is a 2 guard thing. It might we joke and everything, but it might actually be time for Embiid to just hang up the cleats. Him and Paul George. Podcast P just got to go, right? It might be, right? The process was a time, right? Jahlil Okafor, they don't know about Jahlil Okafor. If you dropped Jahlil Okafor in 2005, like around that time when LeBron first entered the league, Jahlil Okafor is an all-star. Jahlil Okafor is frying dudes. He had one of the most polished post-up games out of college we've ever seen, but he just never had a 3-ball. He was like Embiid with no jumper and less of a handle. The league just moved on, and he couldn't do it, you know. But yeah, it's grits. It's grits. But yeah, Kelly Oubre, where we at? Mid coach at best. He coached the Nets before the Mavs. Yeah, I want to forget those days. He got the Bucks before. He's been on quite a few coaching staffs though. Yeah, he's definitely been around. We might make a play-in and lose our OKC pick. I hope not. I wouldn't be mad at it, but I wouldn't prefer that. We'll say that. Pull a Spurs and jump to 2. Hey, I wish we could. He said, I thought the stream was broken. I had my AirPods in my pocket, didn't know the sound was playing through. I'm weak. Best start to a season in the last 10 years. The league is looking great. Dude, this is great. Like the league might be so tough. We actually need expansion, right? Like I remember, like, you know, MJ won his rings in the area when everybody says, from his time at least, that the league was obviously kind of watered down. And it's like, okay, fair. But I think this is the first time we're looking at a era of basketball, like 1 through 30, these guys. And we say, you know what? I'm not going to lie. We might have to add some expansion teams in here. We might have to break this up a little bit. Like everybody's too tough. Like I'm watching some of these games, right? The Bulls beat the Hawks. This is just a random run of the mill game. I'm not a fan of the Hawks. I'm not a fan of the Bulls, right? I don't hate them. They're just kind of there to me, right? But this was 123 to 128. Jalen Johnson, 11-18. Kristaps Porzingis healthy, 11-17. Dyson Daniels, 1 of 8. But, 3 steals, 7 boards, 2 assists. Trey, 1 of 10 from 3 is crazy, Trae Young. But, they have a lot of guys hooping. Onyeka Okongwu is coming off the bench. Nickeil Alexander-Walker's coming off the bench, right? These guys have hoopers. Like, I know these names. Haphazardly, I know these names. Like, not even trying to remember, right? I even know Muhammad Gay, right? Why is that a thing? Why do I know his name? I should not know this guy's name, right? Then you have the Chicago Bulls. I forgot they have Isaac Okoro now. Matas Bazelis, Vucevic being competent, Trey Jones, Josh Giddey, Kevin Huerter off the bench, Patrick Williams off the bench. Bro, what? Like legitimately, we're looking at these teams nowadays, and it's like these teams, even the most mid team you can think of, got real hoopers on it. They might give the best team in the league a run for their money on any random night, right? There's not really any free eats games. And I had to really put that in. I really had to understand that because the other day, the Trailblazers beat the Lakers today because they were shorthanded, I'm going to say. But they beat the Warriors at full health. It was like 130, 138, 139 to like 118, 116. They 20-piece the Warriors. And Curry dropped like 36 that game. And it's like, in what world is the league in such a state that a team that everybody, I think for the most part, will conclusively say the Trailblazers should be at the bottom of the barrel. But we're not going to act like the Trailblazers are buns. We're not going to act like the Trailblazers don't really got hoopers on it, right? They did end up picking up Drew Holiday on accident, I guess, right? So they have him, they have Shaedon Sharpe, they have Donovan Clingan, they have Kamara, they have Denny, right? And people will argue and say that Denny's the best player on this roster, right? And you have Jeremy Grant off the bench. You have Yang, who's going to develop. He's kind of like right now, right? But he's there, right? Caleb Love is going to develop into something interesting. Scoot Henderson, when he's capable, and Matisse Thybulle, when actually healthy and playing, they're competent players. And then if we go further, they still have Time Lord, right? They still have Robert Williams III, and they have Dame. I mean, even if Dame's even if he's the most mid role player of all time, right? That's a good 15 off the bench. Like even the worst, even in my head, the worst, one of the most incompetent teams in the league still has those guys on the roster. And it's like, maybe we need to water it down a bit, right? Because I shouldn't care about the 10th man off your bench. Maybe I just love hoops too much, right? Maybe I just love hoops too much and I know random guys. I'm willing to entertain that possibility too. But like there was a time where like knowing the seventh guy on the bench meant you knew ball, you knew ball, right? Now the seventh guy on the bench is somebody who was tough at some point. He's had an NBA moment. He's had an all-time game. And to think that it's like, obviously the league isn't just top heavy anymore. It's just middle heavy. There's a lot of competency in the league. And it's honestly great to see that. But I think we might need to water it down just a little bit, just a touch. Just a little bit. 2-1, we started 10-3. No, yeah, you were saying league overall. Yeah. The Nets. No, I don't think they have. No, they should be like 0-3, 0-4, something like that. Yeah, they're out there shooting. This might actually be the worst. This is the worst team in the league. Scratch that. Like, even if we as the Jazz tried to be incompetent, there's no way we lose a game to the Brooklyn Nets. Like, Lowry would have to be out. Keontae would have to be rookie Keontae. Who else? Walker Kessler would have. I can't even say Walker Kessler regresses to rookie or Walker Kessler. Walker Kessler turns into Nick Claxton. Yeah, that would work. And then Cam Thomas and Terrence Mann decide to have legacy games, and Michael Porter Jr. has 3 baddies courtside just for the game, right? That would have to be the recipe for the Nets to beat us, right? Yeah, we'd have to try and lose that game. They're the worst team in the league for sure. Bet $300 on the Rockets today to win. Oh, wait, I thought this was the Rockets. I was about to say, dude, against the Spurs, you're crazy. You bet them to win the game, right? I'm hoping. I know the return was out. It probably wasn't anything crazy because they were playing the Nets, but I know it had to be smooth though. Team has shown flashes, even Sacramento times. Yeah, Sacramento too. Ty was good. Yes, sir. I'll never forget a name, brother. How you been, man? Kind of feels like the NFL right now. That's a very valid point. Looked up Jason Kidd's coaching career, 13-14 Nets, Bucks 14-18, assistant Lakers 19-21. Apparently math since, I'm not sure. No, that's pretty accurate, yeah. MPJ pulls at dribble and shows out for the baddies. He got to. You remember in the interview, I'll never forget the craziest storyline. Only $25. That's a free $25. You said it. Yep. I'll never forget. Michael Porter Jr. was sitting there in the interview. As soon as he got traded to the Brooklyn Nets, it was like all of a sudden he has a voice. It's kind of like when it'd be like if Kawhi Leonard, when he left the Spurs, just became like a super popular guy and was really talkative, went on podcasts and all that. Like it was the most bizarre thing ever. Michael Porter Jr., we never hear him say really anything of note when he was with the Nuggets. Then all of a sudden, he gets traded to the Nets. He does like 4 different podcast episodes. He's talking about how everybody has a different vice. His brother's vice was money and bets and gambling, and his vice is women. I said, you just like me, but I wouldn't say that out loud. Go ahead though, brother. He's out here doing stuff. He had a solid game though. Only 13 field goals. It's kind of crazy that nobody shot more than 13 times. I feel like between him and Cam Thomas, one of them should shoot like 20. But they was really spreading that pill. Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy. League wasn't going to let KD start 0-3. Nah, for real. What's good, Chris? Look, MPJ had a muzzle on in Denver. No, for real. It really looks that way. But the Celtics finally won one? I'm not gonna lie. Jaylen Brown is bad without Jason Tatum. It's actually impressive. Anthony Simon's still on the bench. I don't understand this to this day. but go off, I guess. 15 points, right? You thought you were going to score 15. Your team was going to win the game. I mean, you did somehow, but that's just disgusting to me. Derek White, Peyton Pritchard. Okay. All right. 11 and 18. Okay. Like, I would never put a parlay on anybody on this entire thing. Whatever Jaylen Brown has, though, I'm betting the under. I'm not gonna lie. I don't believe in Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown without Jason Tatum is like a BLT without the bacon, right? Nobody wants that. It's let's just keep it a band. Nobody wants that. Ron Harper's just buried in the rotation, dude. Reminds me of Jaden Springer back in the day. I said back in the day, dude. That was like 3 years ago. Calm down. Herb Jones, Trey Murphy. That's why. There was no Zion Williamson. There was no. I forget they have DeJounte Murray when he comes back. Yeah, no Zion. They close this one. Okay, that makes sense. Jordan Poole, Jeremiah Fears. Fair. Why is DeAndre Jordan on the Pelicans? Why is he? All right, you know what? Never mind. I don't know why I even thought about that. What a guy. What a swell guy. They did not want him chatting. I understand that. Also, MPJ doesn't care at this point. He got his ring in his head. That's also a very valid point. Yeah, he might think his career is just like fulfilled to the fullest. Jay Brown needs someone else to handle. Absolutely. Jaylen Brown is the ultimate number 2, right? He's so number 2, right? He's so 2B. He can't survive without number 1. Right? A Jaylen Brown legacy game without Jason Tatum on the court is crazy. I don't even know what that would look like because I've never seen it. Yeah. Dude, yes. This is actually crazy. We need to give credit to the Nuggets media team because ever since leaving the team, MPJ has been on a Hall of Fame run of bad takes and making himself look bad. Absolutely. Without fail. DeAndre Jordan is still in the league. Yeah. Somehow, majestically. So Mac. Yeah, it went down to the wire. It really shouldn't have went into overtime, but it did. Overall, we managed to close it out the way we needed to, though. Walker Kessler, obviously, right? Can't take away from Lowry, his 51. Can't take away from that at all. Great shooting, right? Phenomenal. Walker Kessler he just did things to me, man. Walker was just digging at me all game. I just love those hoops, dude. And I'm not gonna say he can shoot yet, right? But I'm also not gonna say he can't shoot this year. I'm gonna wait till we get 15 games in, and then I'm gonna say, he has a jumper now. The rest of the league should piss themselves. I'm gonna wait until that happens. I'm not gonna rush it though. What other interesting games? The Thunder beat the Mavs barely. Raptors lost this for God. We gotta look on Wemby. Dude, Wemby's so tough, dude. I need a Wemby jersey. Like, I actually gotta get me one. Scotty Barnes, Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, Brandon Ingram. I forgot he's on the Raptors. Yeah, none of y'all really got off. Scotty Barnes had 8 points. Boy, what the didn't he just recently get a contract like 2 years ago? Hey, I'm pretty sure he's on a max deal right now. You can't do that. Harrison Barnes masterclass, 18 points on 85% shooting. Nobody saw that coming. 5 assists. Why am I playing with Harrison? Every time I see Harrison Barnes, it's funny to me. Victor only shot 8 times. 7 of 8. 10 of 10 from the free throw line. 15 boards, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 4 turnovers, 24 points. Yo, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculously unnecessary. 35 box score plus minus in just 30 minutes of action, dude. It only took him 8. And even if we put this into context, right? Let's say he got fouled 5. All right, 10 field goals, 5 shots per, or divide that by 2, 5 shot attempts, right? 13 times, 24 points. Had more boards than he had shot attempts. Devin Vassell stepped up. Stephon Castle stepped up. Like, dude, no, I don't want to play them, right? I love watching them hoop, but I do not want to play them at all. At all. Gene surprised how little Bryce played. Yeah, he wasn't having the best shooting night, but I still thought Will would let him rock. Yeah, it was actually really interesting to see that. I don't think it's gonna be a consistent thing, and I don't it doesn't bother me too much, but it's just one of those things that I keep in the back of my head, like 11 minutes, 15 is like, eh, but like 11, dude, that's like 11th man. That's like 10th man on the bench type minutes. Did we go 10 deep? Yeah, we went 10 deep today. And he played the least amount of minutes, right? And it's like, it's not that I want him to play more minutes than Walter Clayton Jr., right? Who had 23. I like that actually for him. It's not that he even played less than the sick Ace Bailey, right? I don't know. I don't know. We won, so it justifies the action, right? But it's like, I don't know. I just feel like it should be a little bit more. Glad in a way it went to OT because Lowry and Walker got me more fantasy points all week. Yeah, I understand that. Royce plus the refs. Isn't Royce like 35? He's up there. I don't know if he's 35 just yet, but he's up there. Yeah. I think Royce is 29, 30, came in the same year as Mitch. Dang. He was an old rookie. Yeah. Hot take. OKC isn't as good as people think. We've seen many teams push them to their limits this season. I know they're missing J-Dub, but I think teams are closer than most people. Oh, for sure. For sure. The thing about the Thunder, their depth makes them really makes them really good. But if you say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has a bad game, it's like, okay, is J-Dub going to carry you? And is Chet guaranteed to be a lock for a good game that game, right? Both of those guys have to step up. If both of them don't step up, it's going to be a long night, right? There'll always be a force to be reckoned with. We have to respect that. But no, you're correct. There's not nearly as much of a gap. If you drop this Thunder team back in like the mid 2010s, late 2010s, then there's a gap that a lot of people have to experience. But especially with just the sheer talent, the type of guys, the way teams are constructed, and the way different teams play in today's game, the Thunder should have a gap in theory, but it's not nearly as wide as everybody wants to think it is. Especially considering like they're fresh off their ring season, you know. No, you're good, Tatum. I'm at work right now, but I took a break. For sure. Kept it in 3, maybe turns that this season. OKC not being as good as people think isn't a bad tank. I'm a bit surprised they won the chip last year. Good on them, though. I saw it coming because their competency and their willingness to stick to what worked. It's really easy to come up with a game plan to beat another team. It's a whole nother thing to repetitively, execute said game plan to beat that team, because you can't always guarantee that somebody's going to be hot. Can't always guarantee somebody, if you put that hand up and it's 2 inches from his face, is he still going to miss that shot? Right? There's so many variables that go into play, and they just encountered a perfect storm. Everybody stepped up when they really needed to. J-Dub did his best Jaylen Brown performance and then some. Man, they got the job done. It was, yeah. Oh, definitely more scared of Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs. Yes. The Spurs are dangerous. I think OKC shot themselves in the foot by giving all their big three the max. If they could have get Chet a little cheaper, they would have set themselves up for the next 10 years. Yeah, for sure. No, I'm definitely with you on that one. And really, they're one of the few teams where I'm like, how much of the luxury tax are you willing to go into, right? Because the second apron, we know it's very taxing. The way this new CBA deal is, it can get real strenuous when it comes to those dollars at the top end. And it's like, okay, how much of a penalty are you willing to take, right? You just got a ring. So are you willing to keep that up? How long are you going to keep this core together? How long are you going to pay the dividends? How long are you going to willing to, kind of struggle it out with these guys at the helm if necessary? How many times are you going to be in essence, financial cap hell to keep this up? And you have a lot of teams where they're like, hey, we might be a good team, but it's nowhere near that. We're not, we like hoops, but we don't like hoops more than we like money. Right? When you start calling me excessive money, nah, it's okay. We'll just be bad. The fans will still come out to the game, right? That's what a lot of teams end up putting their feet on. So it'd be interesting, especially like I want to say what 2, 3 seasons from now, when the offseason rolls around to see what they decide to do and what they're able to do, honestly, beyond that part. Chez getting bullied most playoff games. SGA dragged the team in a lot of those wins. Yeah. I heard it was a real big. Yeah. Like the 1 seed is either Thunder or Spurs this year. But if we make it by miracle as an 8 seed, I'd rather face a slugfest for OKC. Yeah, OKC will definitely go more against. If we play the Spurs, would be the worst possible team. And the thing is, like the Spurs roster construction, they're built to out execute you. They're not built for everybody to be really, really good offensively. They're built to out execute you. So there's going to be 3 or 4 guys that give you double figures. There might even be 5 or 6. They won't be able to tell you who those guys are. The only person that you know will be Wemby, right? But on the other side of that, every single person that touches the floor for them is going to wear you out on defense. They're going to do everything in their abilities to make you struggle because those boys are conditioned. I'm not going to lie, you will never see an out of shape Spurs player touch the floor. Their pacing just doesn't allow for it. And it was Dylan Harper, right? Off the bench, mind you? Nah. Nobody wants those problems. Nobody wants those problems. I could talk about the Spurs all day, dude. Jeremy Sohan didn't play. De'Aaron Fox. Let's forget about Kelly Olynyk and Luke Kornet, right? And Lindy Waters III. Just Jeremy Sohan, De'Aaron Fox, right? That's 2. Champagnie, Barnes, Wemby, Vassell, Castle, Keldon Johnson, Dylan Harper. That's 9 guys. Carter Bryant, in maybe not this year, but like the next 2 seasons, that's 10 guys. If you take those 10 guys, right, and you line them up against the Pacers' best 10 guys, right, and the Pacers are real deep, they're wearing them out. And we're not even taking into account the Wemby factor, right? We're treating it as if Wemby is a guy that will randomly have a bad shooting night. We're treating Wemby like he's just a regular defender, right? Wemby grew this offseason. Wemby, on his worst night, can stand at the rim and murder you. Yeah, no, we don't want to deal with the Spurs. I'm not gonna lie. We do not. The only way the Spurs go on a losing streak, right? They'll lose some games, but the only way they go on a losing streak of more than like 4 or 5 games is if somebody critical is out, being Victor Wembanyama, right? Victor Wembanyama, Stephon Castle, right? They can win without Devin Vassell starting. They can win without Harrison Barnes. They can win without Champagnie, right? Because they have guys like Dylan Harper and Keldon Johnson. No Wemby, no Stephon Castle. Okay, now it's getting a little wicked, right? That's the only way I see it that way. Said the Thunder might have to end up doing what the Celtics are doing right now and taking a gap year in order to not see the full effect of the second apron. Yeah. Tatum getting low-key kind of help. Yeah, I can see that. Spurs got such a good draft again. Yes, dude. Yes, brother. Only 8, 10 for 10 from the free throw line. Dang, he was 7 of 8 from the field. He's a really good basketball player. You know, as a center, he probably took all close shots, 10 to 10 from the free throw line. Hold that. He can shoot free throws, right? Don't foul him. You don't want to foul him. You have to foul him at some point, but you don't want to foul him because it's money. It's money. It's going to be money every time, right? He was working out with darn near every NBA Hall of Fame star that would make time for him this offseason. Nobody wants to deal with Wemby. Wemby, let me put this into context, right? And I don't want to take up too much more time, but Wemby was so good against the Mavericks, I forgot he was doing against Anthony Davis. I thought he was frying Daniel Gafford, and I was like, oh man, you know, this is great. He's like, Daniel Gafford's a pretty solid big, but like, dang, Wemby's just like that. Like, Wemby's really coming for heads this year. Then I thought about it for a second, and I realized Daniel Gafford didn't play. Daniel Gafford was out for the game. The boy with goggles and braids that was getting fried was perennial Defensive Player of the Year finalist Anthony Davis. At which point I really just had to sit there for a second. I said, Anthony Davis, Depoy, candidate every year, and Derek Lively couldn't do anything. Not gave him a tough time, and he still gave you 30. They couldn't do anything. His efficiency did not suffer that game. What do you mean he blocked somebody twice on a possession, tipped the board to one of his teammates. His teammate gave him the ball back. He crossed half court, tween, step back three, and one. What? There's no conceivable way, right? There's no conceivable way. That's the NBA. Yo, no. Wemby is like the first person when I'll never forget. Like, what was it? Bill Sims or whatever. When all those people, when they were like, oh yeah, LeBron, it's been fun, man. We don't need you anymore. Ben Simmons is here. Now, don't get me wrong. Ben Simmons could have been like that. Ben Simmons should have been like that, dare I say. But when they sat there and said that, I was like, yo, you're kind of crazy. Then you had, the growth of Giannis. And I was like, I'm not going to lie. Giannis tough. Then it was like Jokic. And Jokic is tough, but Jokic isn't like the same defensive force that Giannis can afford to be, or like LeBron was in his prime, right? And it's like, dang, we're really blessed. We have some really, really good NBA talent now. And it's like, they said, oh, y'all, you like LeBron, huh? Y'all think that Zion Williamson was supposed to be better than LeBron coming out of college? 7'7" big that also plays like a guard. He's really Kevin Durant, but in a taller frame with a deeper bag. Like, you really can't fuck with him. Hold that. Tell me how it goes. Ta-ta. And the basketball guys just walked away. Brother, what? This is not a thing. He should not exist, right? 30 minutes. 7 of 8. His effective field goal percentage has to be like 94%. He was 10 of 10 he attempted more free throws than he did actual shot attempts. Nah, they got that. In expansion, Spurs or Thunder might suffer the most with all their good young talent. They can't protect all of it. That is true. That's definitely true. They also have a decent bit of draft capital. I think the Thunder might suffer less than the Spurs in theory, like as far as like what gets lost, because they still own a bunch of people's draft picks over the next 4 seasons, I want to say. So they could definitely recoup it. Now, if they take away those draft picks, well, that redistribution might do something. I think as much as I think an expansion would be good for the league, the owners would need to agree with it, and the owners lose money in expansion. Bingo, and that's why we won't get it for a minute. In the next 10 years, I could see it happening. I was honestly surprised that we got an in-season tournament. Like, that was just crazy to me. Like, the concept of an in-season tournament, if you told that to Stern, he would have said, heck no. This is the Stern that vetoed a CP3 trade that would have sent him to team up with Kobe Bryant. He would have said, heck no, what are you talking about? In-season tournament, my ass, and kept it pushing. But like, now with Adam Silver at the helm, I think in the next 5 years we do get to see an expansion team. I think it has to be 2, maybe depending on how far in the future we're talking, maybe 4. I don't see any more than 4 though, right? But I think definitely 2. Definitely 2. And then I'm gonna say in the next, by 2030, right? By the season of 2030, because we're in 2025 right now. So yeah, 4 or 5 NBA seasons. Yeah. Yeah, I'll say that. But yeah, just wanted to, pop out, talk about the impressive game that we had. Next, who do we play next? We play the Trailblazers. Not in the next 24 hours, in 48 hours. Haha, I made this mistake last time. This will be what, Wednesday, I think. Today's Tuesday, so yeah, Wednesday. Wednesday we'll be playing these boys. So we'll be back live then, and we'll make it happen. But as always, good morning, good evening, and good night, no matter where you're in the globe watching. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.